Hendon Hooker rising up draft boards. It's a thing. And we might need to restructure. I have a mock draft simulator. We're going to try to do a NFL mock draft live here on the stream today. So, that'll be in segment 1. So stay locked in if you're trying to get some of that, NFL mock draft analysis, trying to keep up with all the rumors and everything that's going on. Be sure to stay tapped in for that. The Dallas Mavericks over to the NBA. The Dallas Mavericks, are they tanking? Are they forcing themselves not even to be in the play-in because they want to try to get themselves a chance at Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller? We'll get there. And then playoff seeding. There is a lot of potential scenarios, but because of load managing, a lot of those scenarios might not play out. A lot of those tiebreakers might not play out. So we're going to be on the lookout for that. We're going to trust that, and we'll get into that. Alex Smith, thank you for pulling up to the stream. Not sure if you've been here before, but that's a new name in the chat at least. Maybe you've just been viewing. Now you're chatting. Salute to you. Let's see who else we got here. Corey's pulling up. Dallas moves up for a defensive tackle. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Because we do have a mock draft simulator. We will be using that here on the stream. I just found it maybe like 20 minutes ago. That's why I had to push back the stream a few minutes, because I was like, oh, let me see if this thing could actually work. Can I use this live on the stream and it worked the way I need it to work? It does work. Bear with me when I'm using it, but we will be doing a mock draft simulation here on the stream. So we are going to get ready here. We're going to get busy. We're going to get it cracking. We're going to start off with Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker, who, got hurt towards the end of the season for the Volunteers out there in Tennessee, and it looked like that was going to affect his draft status. Well, maybe not. Maybe he's got that Wolverine. Maybe he's got, something. Maybe he went over to Germany. I don't know what it is, but teams are like, be damn all of that. We want some Hendon Hooker. And there is some reporting that's being done that Hendon Hooker might be moving up a lot of draft boards to where he might be the third QB taking in this NFL draft. Is this smoke? Is this a smoke screen? Don't know. But let's go ahead and get that pulled up. Jump into the screen. Here we go. Update. Quote, plenty of NFL teams have Tennessee QB Hendon Hooker ranked as the third QB prospect in the 2023 draft. This is courtesy of James Palmer, who covers the NFL for the NFL Network. You see that there, blue check boy. There is a gap between the top two in Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Then Hooker slides between them and Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. Oh boy. So now, you know me, I go right to the mock draft we've been looking at and trying to figure out, well, how the hell does this work now? Problem is that this mock draft, which is via Tankathon, doesn't really update that often. So I said, all right, well, I can't get really what I need there. Let me see if I can find a more credible, a more standard mock draft. So we go to Pro Football Focus, right? Pro Football Focus, lots of people use their stats, use their rankings, so on and so forth, right? Let me blow this up here so y'all can read that, all right? So off top, we have CJ Stroud going to the Panthers. Now, we had the stream yesterday where we were talking about Bryce Young going number 1 overall to the Panthers because of the OG blue check boy, Chris Mortensen. Mortensen has since walked that back draft season. And he said, oh, I was just doing that for the show. It's not really based off any reporting. Do we believe that? I do not. I think a call was placed like, yo, don't be putting our T out there too soon. We still posturing. We still trying to get this trade collateral up. I don't know what happened there, but your man's Mortensen, fresh off going live on the 4-letter network yesterday saying the Panthers they love Bryce Young. That's the pick at 1. Less than 24 hours later is walking it back saying, oh, that was just for the show. Make of it what you will. So according to Pro Football Focus, they still have CJ Stroud going number 1 to the Panthers, Bryce Young 2 to the Texans. This seems to be pretty standard. this is pretty much what we've been looking at on Tankathon, to be quite honest with you. Now we had the Cardinals staying at 3 with Will Anderson, the Colts with AR-15, Anthony Richardson, Jalen Carter going 5 to the Seahawks, even though there's been tons of reporting saying that Jalen Carter has been tumbling down and sometimes all the way off draft boards. Somehow, some way, he still figures to be a top 5 pick, according to this mock draft, courtesy of Pro Football Focus. Now, this is interesting because we have the Raiders here not taking a QB at 7. And this is with Will Levis on the board. And this is also now, if we're to believe all the rumors, this is now with Hendon Hooker still on the board. Raiders still don't take a QB, according to Pro Football Focus. Look at the Bears getting the O-line. Okay. Eagles getting the O-line. So we're in the top 10. There's no Will Levis. Now, we've been looking at Tankathon, and Tankathon has routinely had Will Levis to the Raiders. And I believe before this updated mock draft, I believe they had him going 4 to the Colts prior to the Anthony Richardson skyrocketing value, right? So we're now seeing Will Levis on a mock draft where he's not even top 10. And if we look at it here, I mean, Smith and Jigba still at 14. If the Seahawks could pull this off where they can have Lockett, Metcalf, and JSN, that's sick. Geno gonna put up numbers. Y'all might as well just go ahead and draft Geno early in the fantasy drafts if he gets JSN to pair with Lockett and DK Metcalf. But we'll see if that happens. So we're now at 16, still no Will Levis. Devin Witherspoon, who a lot of people are high on right now, at 17 to the Texans. Texans pull that off. That's a good steal. We're at 20. The Bucks don't take a running back. They don't take Bijan. The Lions take another receiver, Quentin Johnston, to pair him with St. Brown and Jameson Williams, who everyone is saying looks like a star. Bijan to the Patriots at 20. And here we finally have Will Levis at 22. So hold up. Isn't this the Ravens pick? Are the Ravens not at 22? Is Tankathon wrong? Or is this predicting a trade? We need to figure that out. Let me come off the screen for a second here. I see you, Corey. Jeffrey Simmons getting a bag, changes the draft. Do you think so? It was a 4-year extension, right? 4-year extension for Jeffrey Simmons. Let's see. I need to make sure that Ravens pick is still 22 because Pro Football Focus is supposed to be on top of that stuff. NFL draft order. Because the entire time we've been trying to figure out what they're going to do at 22. And now Pro Football Focus is saying that's not their pick. Okay, according to NFL.com, just so we can have the sources correct here, NFL.com, right? Y'all see the shield, okay? 22 is the Ravens. Y'all see it there. Okay, cool. All right, just want to make sure. Y'all know me. I'm all about, making sure information is correct. I don't like to just jump out the window and say things. So we have that there. So apparently the Rams will trade back into the first round to get Will Levis. Okay. So no Hendon Hooker so far. So no Hendon Hooker in the first round for Pro Football Focus. Man, do they have Hendon Hooker going in the second round? Pro Football Focus. Oh, here we go. Wow. Hold up now. Here's something. Here's a Green Bay Packers via the Jets in projected Aaron Rodgers trade, Hendon Hooker. Now that's interesting. Let's read a little blurb, see if there's some insight here. Everyone remembers the Packers future-proofing Aaron Rodgers at the end of his career when they drafted Jordan Love in the first round of the 2020 draft. Not as many remember the Packers future-proofing him at the beginning of his career when he drafted Brian Brom in the second round of the 2008 draft. Hooker could easily be the same thought process for Jordan Love. Would the Packers, with their second round pick, because now the latest T, if you're trying to keep up the speed, and I appreciate those pulling up, if you would be so kindly to drop a like to let the algorithm know that I'm giving y'all fresh content, I would appreciate it. The latest is that this Jets Aaron Rodgers thing isn't going to happen until draft day. That's now the prevailing thought, is that because that second round pick that the Jets are going to covet, they don't want to move it until draft day. Don't know if I believe it, but that's now the latest information, is that this now is going to be a draft day trade when it comes to the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. So maybe this is part of that process, because the Jets would give up the 42nd pick. Oh, the Jets would, let's see. Let's just make sure. Yeah, that's the pick the Jets got from the Browns in the Elijah Moore deal. Okay, so we got that there. So if the Jets give that up to the Packers allegedly will select Hendon Hooker with that second round pick to future-proof, to back up, to push, to motivate Jordan Love. Now that's some tea I have not heard. And now if you look again, both of those picks, allegedly, according to Pro Football Focus, are going to the Jets. So now let's go back. Let's keep looking this up. So now that's 42 and 43 going to the Packers. So is this going to be a draft day deal? Because that's what some of the, I won't call it reporting, but that's what some of the innuendo has been, definitely in some of the group chats I've been in, and definitely some of the people that I've seen on Twitter who may be close to the situation, but aren't necessarily willing to go out there and officially report what's going on. So Jets allegedly moving both second round picks to the Packers for Aaron Rodgers. And then we have the Packers with one of those picks allegedly targeting Hendon Hooker. But again, this goes in straight contradiction to the latest report we have today of that Hendon Hooker on plenty. Who knows what plenty means? Plenty could be 2, plenty could be 3, could be 5, could be 20. But according to, James Palmer of NFL Network, plenty of NFL teams have Tennessee QB Hendon Hooker ranked as the 3rd QB prospect in this upcoming draft. So for the Packers to potentially get someone who they might have as 3rd on their board in the second round with one of those picks that they're going to acquire in a potential deal for Aaron Rodgers, that's a huge swing. I won't say that's a huge win. That's a huge swing for Murphy in that front office there in Green Bay. I'll jump to the comments real quick. Thank y'all for pulling up. Thank y'all for staying in the chat, keeping it active. Appreciate that. Corey, Texas take a corner 2 years in a row. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that either. I'm not sure. But again, with D'Amico, that could be a thing. I wouldn't put it past him, right? Let's see. Boogie down. Jets are getting cold feet about A-Rod. I don't know about that. The deal's happening, Boogie down. The deal's happening. I don't think the Jets are getting cold feet. I think now, because of the posturing that the Jets and the Packers have done, if we're to believe some of the innuendo on the timeline and stuff that's been circulating through back channels, now it's looking like it's going to be a draft day deal. So I'm not going to sit out here and say, remember where you heard it first or whatever, but just understand that this thing is fluid and it's moving. Potentially this deal can go down on draft day when those second round picks that could potentially be moved for Aaron Rodgers are actually in play. So right now, in theory, the Packers could be scouting with the notion that they're going to have picks 42 and 43. Boogie down. I don't really see anything special out of Jordan Love. I mean, I don't think we've seen enough to even warrant that. Like, yeah, like I'm not sitting here saying he should be the franchise QB. He should be QB1. I think he'll be QB1 by default, even if they take Hendon Hooker. Or even if they take another QB, who knows what they might do with these picks. Because in theory, if they know they have 42 and 43, they could package that to move up. But I don't know if how they're trying to wait on this trade is. They're going to wait till Green Bay is on the clock, or until the Jets, in theory, are on the clock at 42, then announce the trade. And now Green Bay is on the clock with 42 and 43. I don't know how they're trying to like ration this out, but you know, I'm not sitting here saying this should be Jordan Love. I don't know that much about Jordan Love, to be quite honest with you. I don't think any of us can definitively say that Jordan Love is good or bad. We just haven't seen enough of him, or at least I know I have not seen enough of him to make a judgment on him. I've seen way more of Hendon Hooker, to be quite honest with you, because I go on ESPN radio in Tennessee every week. So I've been tapped in a lot more on Hendon Hooker, especially this past season, more so than, you know, Jordan Love on mop-up duty or, you know, spot duty when Aaron Rodgers has been hurt. So I know way more about Hendon Hooker because of, you know, being on ESPN radio out there in Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Knowing all of that, I had to be locked in on Hendon Hooker. I liked a lot of what I saw there. Just shout out to the homie, the Word with G, Greg Larner, out there in ESPN radio in Tennessee. But yeah, I think no one can definitively say whether Jordan Love is bad or not. I think it's way too early. Alex Smith, they better not invest. They better not invest all that cash in Lazard. The Lazard deal, I don't think that bread is that much. I don't think that bread's that much. But okay, so here's what I would like to do. Because now we have a good idea of where we're at with it now, right? So we have a mock draft simulator. I'm going to choose the teams that need quarterbacks, right? So this is going to be generated. I believe AI is part of this. I'm not sure, artificial intelligence, but I'm going to choose to be a number of teams and just see what happens in terms of if I take Bryce Young number 1, what does AI or what does this mock simulator think the Texans would do at 2, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and pick a few teams. I'll pick Arizona, Carolina. Do we want to be Indianapolis? I'm kind of curious as to what they would do without me choosing for them. And the Raiders. Let's see. Anybody else? No, I think we're good there. Those are the teams that, I mean, Detroit, I could take Detroit or Seattle. Do I want to? Nah, I'll let them pick that. Okay. So I'm going to be the, I picked Arizona, right? Yeah. Arizona, Carolina, Houston, and Vegas. And let's see how this works here with this draft. Enter the draft room. Okay, so you guys see the picks. I'm going to pick the first 3 picks. We're going to see what happens with the Colts at 4, Seattle at 5, Detroit at 6, and then the Raiders at 7. We'll see what's available to us there. And we'll just go through it like that and just see what the AI thinks, okay? All right, so we just click start. Okay. Look at this already. I have 2 trade offers, a whole bunch of picks from the Titans who want to jump up. Should we take this trade? I'm gonna let y'all decide that we should take this trade. So they want the number 1 pick, and they want to give up the 11th pick, a 2nd rounder, a 3rd and a 5th, and 2 7ths next year's draft. Y'all let me know in the chat. Just a simple yes or no. Should I accept this deal? Am I giving up the number 1 overall pick to move back to get the 11th pick, an extra 2nd, a 3rd, a 5th, and 2 7ths next year? Is that a viable trade for the number 1 overall pick? I think y'all know what type of time I'm on, but I will let y'all decide. Y'all let me know here because I am on the clock. I mean, no players. There's no DJ. Oh, is there more compensation? I have 2 trade offers. That's the first trade offer. My bad. I didn't even realize I had a second trade offer. Oh, and the Seahawks want to move up. Oh, boy. Seahawks want to move up. They're willing to give up 5 and 20 and a 5th this year, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 6th, and a 7th next year. If I'm the Panthers, does any of that sound appealing? To be quite honest, I think the Titans deal is trash. I think the Seahawks deal is something I'm willing to consider. Do we want to shake things up and take it? You know what? The hell with it. I'm gonna take this trade. I'm gonna accept this trade. Boom. And now look at that. They take Will Anderson, number 1, if it's Seattle. Okay. Now for the second pick, there's a trade. The Bengals want to move up. Now, why would the Bengals want to move up? Especially, now here's where AI is a little janky. Why would AI want them to move up? Who's going to be this? Are they going to take Jalen Carter here? Like, why? They're not taking the QB. So why would they want to trade up? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to reject that trade. All right. So now, if you're Houston, CJ Stroud allegedly is the first QB off the board. But do you go defense here? But the problem is Seattle jumped ahead of you and took what many feel is the safest player in this draft of Will Anderson at number 1 overall. Do the Texans hold firm and still take a QB? All right. I won't mess around with D'Amico. We're going to go ahead and take CJ Stroud number 1, which is actually now number 2. Now you're the Cardinals. Will Anderson's off the board. The Seahawks came through and snatched him up. What are you doing now? Can't take a QB, right? What are you doing? Do you want to go Tyree Wilson, assuming Jalen Carter's not on this draft board? Do you want to go Tyree? Would anyone take Tyree at number 3? You see, no trade offers. So no one's willing to trade up for Bryce Young or AR-15. So now the Colts are sitting pretty because you're assuming the Cardinals are not going to take a QB here. So if that's the case, the Colts could have their pick of whoever between Bryce Young, AR-15, and if they have Hendon Hooker up there, he's a potential pick, and also Will Levis. So they can have 4 QBs available at 4. But the Cardinals on the clock. Jalen Carter, there's a lot there. He might be off their board. But since there's so much turmoil in Arizona, let's keep the turmoil going. We're going to take Jalen Carter with the 4th pick. 3rd pick, excuse me. Now, the Colts jump in there and take Bryce Young, number 4. Now the Panthers, who traded down from 1 to 5, now have another trade from the Jets, who are trying to move up from 13. Now this clearly isn't taken into account that this second round pick is not actually going to be there for them. That's a Green Bay pick. So as much as I think if I'm the Panthers, I would take this deal just to keep collecting picks because that roster is so mid. I don't think you can do this. I won't do this in real time because this trade is not actually realistic. So I'm going to go ahead and reject this trade. But if I am the Panthers, and now I have my pick of either AR-15, Will Levis, or I could go find Hendon Hooker. This now could be a real thing here. If you're the Panthers, you've collected extra draft collateral. What do you want to do? I think you go AR-15 and you have that whole thing of Cam Newton reborn or redo or part deux for the Carolina Panthers. So Anthony Richardson will be my pick at 5 after trading down, getting more picks for the Carolina Panthers. Gonzalez off the board to the Lions. Now the Raiders are on the clock, and now the Atlanta Falcons are trying to move up from 8 to 7. Is this something we would actually consider? You're going to move back one spot and collect a 2nd, a 7th, and a future 3rd and 5th. But you have 6 trade offers. This is a very highly coveted spot. Is this a Will Levis spot? Is this a Tyree Wilson spot? The Jets, again, not realistic. Well, they're not offering any of the second-round picks. We still won't. We'll skip that. The Dolphins, because they have no pick this year, so they're offering a 1st, a 2nd, and good Lord, that's a boatload, but you get nothing for this year. Can't do that. Can't do that. That roster, that Raider roster is mid. They need too much help. As much as this is a lot, I can't accept that. I can't accept that. Okay. The Saints, that's not enough. A low 1st, a 5th this year, a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th next year, that's not enough. Chargers. Nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. The Bears? Tyree? This is a lot to move up 2 spots. If Poles did this, he would be roasted. If Ryan Poles gave up 5 picks in this upcoming draft to move up 2 spots, he would get roasted in Chicago. I don't think he does this. I'm going to go ahead and reject that one because that one's insane. I don't think the Falcons would give up all of this to move up 1 spot. Reject that. I don't think the Jets would do that. A lot of these are not realistic. Yeah, that's not realistic. The Saints one, nah, it's too far of a drop. The best deal is this Charger deal, and I wouldn't do that if I were the Raiders. So we'll reject all those trades. So now the Raiders, you could go get Will Levis here. Or you could take best player available, which is potentially Tyree. You could go Witherspoon here. Paris Johnson if you want to fix up the O-line. JSN if you want to pair him with Devontae Adams. Bijan, I wouldn't be mad if they went Bijan here because you know they got Josh Jacobs on the franchise tag. Or do you shake things up and maybe the Raiders have Hendon Hooker as the 3rd best QB on their board? We've seen the Raiders reach before. Remember Colin Farrell? Ginger tea. We've seen, I really just want to take Hendon Hooker just to shake things up. I really do. Let me see. Let me see what y'all are thinking so far. Alex Smith, I still think Will Levis still goes top 10. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know, Alex. Boogie down. AR-15 will never be Cam. AR-15 wasn't even all that good in college. People be overhyping him too much. We'll see, Boogie down. He looks the part. That's all I'll say. He looks the part. And sometimes that's all it takes in the league is just looking the part. So I'm not mad at your opinion. I think there's some merit to your opinion. I'm just saying if you give him a chance to just run around, and if your coaches are as good as they claim to be, they should be able to fix his mechanics, right? They should be able to make him a more accurate thrower. They should be able to fix his footwork and his mechanics. So if Mahomes can come into the league with, shaky mechanics and get better, if Justin Fields, who I hope the Bears are trying to make his mechanics and footwork better, can get better, then why not Anthony Richardson? All right, I'm going to go with Hendon Hooker. Let's go crazy. So as you see, Will Levis is still on the board here. And the Texans have their 2nd pick. They already took their QB. Here's the Giants trying to slide up. Is this Will Levis for the Giants? No, can't do that, right? Ooh, Dallas. Yo, Corey, what's good? What's good? You want to take, you want that 12th pick? Maybe go get you Will Levis? Put some heat on Dak? The 26th overall, third round pick, and the 7th to move up to 12. I would hope it would take a lot more than that to go from 26 to 12, but who knows? Yeah, I'm rejecting that Giants trade. The Commanders. A first, a fifth, a sixth, a future first, second, third. Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot to move up 4 spots. If I'm the Texans, I might do that. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. And Houston, because they've been trading back, they're back again. Will Levis is still there. Green Bay did not take a QB, by the way. Another trade offer, a 7th, a future first, a future second. Good Lord. The Texans could end up like how the Patriots used to be, where they used to have like 10 picks per draft. Another future first? Oof. I think you got to take that trade. Yeah, I would take that trade. Will Levis still there. We're at pick 20. Will Levis still on the board. Just saying. I just like making trades to keep it a buck with y'all. Corey says no thanks on Will Levis. Okay. Figured that. Just want to make sure you put it out there for the record. Let's see. So we got some Hendon Hooker love in here. Could be the best QB of this draft class. The guy is out of this world good. Beat Young this year and destroyed Levis this year. Yeah, that could be a thing. That definitely could be a thing. I think Hooker is, I think he's somebody that once you figure out, obviously for him to be rising up these draft boards, clearly his health is progressing great. Right? Or despite his injury, people see the skill set and know what type of time he's on, and they're making the move that way. So Dallas wants to move up to 20 from 26, and they're willing to give up a future second, fourth, and fifth to do it. I don't know if I'm making that. Corey, who is a Cowboys fan, so make sure that y'all put all y'all vitriol about Cowboys directed at him. He would be interested in defensive tackle. Every team should be, because we know the game is won in the trenches. Wide receiver or O-line. Okay. All right, let's see. They won't let me pick, though, so let me accept. I will reject that trade. Bengals, no. Lions, wow, they're willing to give a future first and 2/3. But you're moving, nah, can't do that for your Carolina. Jaguars, nah, can't do that. Vikings, ooh, they're willing to give up a first, a 6th, the Lions 3rd next year. Probably have to move on past that. Okay. All right. So this is kind of what this will be my last pick. Carolina. Have I had them taking a QB? Oh, yeah, they took Richardson. All right. So now we got to go. Oh, Bijan's off the board. Oh, wait, is he? No, Bijan's still there. Oh, I'm taking Bijan at 20. Oh, Quentin is there. Oh, you got to take Quentin. You got to take Quentin to replace DJ. Will Levis still on the board. Oh, Will Levis finally left. All right, I think I get the gist of it here. Let's see if we can maneuver here. All right, so this is why I wanted to do that, because if Hendon Hooker is now going to be ranked as the third QB prospect in this upcoming draft, then that can potentially shake up some of the draft boards. And how would that look if a team jumps out the window and says, you know what? Instead of AR-15, instead of Will Levis, I'm going Hendon Hooker. Like, what if the Colts decide to go Hendon Hooker at 4? What if the Raiders at 7 decide to go Hendon Hooker? What if Seattle, where's their picks? They got the 5th, and where's their second pick? At 20, what if Seattle at 20 goes Hendon Hooker? Beakels drove to Knoxville from Boston. Good Lord, that's a drive. To watch the Vols beat Florida. Man, he was special. Yeah, he had a really good performance that night. That's a hell of a drive, though, bro. I salute you for that drive. What do you think the Patriots do with their first? Well, it depends on if you believe any of these rumors. There's been a lot of rumors about what they will do. I've been seeing a lot of Joey Porter Jr. What did Pro Football Focus have for them? Let's see. They have them trading out at 14. Don't know if I would do that if I'm the Patriots. I think the Patriots, unless you're going to get a boatload for it, I think the Patriots need to capitalize on them picks. And let's see. What's their second round pick situation looking like? Yeah, they got 46. Do they have a third? They don't have multiple picks. Nope. Third round? I thought they had a few conditional picks, the Patriots. They do not. Wow, so all they have is a first and a second. They have no third. Yeah, if I'm them, oh no, they do have a third. Okay, right here, 76. Okay. Not a lot of high picks for the Patriots, so they need to figure that out. They need to use those picks. If I'm them, quite honestly, I don't think defense is the issue. I think it's the offense. If JSN somehow slips all these teams and he's there, I would take JSN there, Jackson Smith and Jigba. If he's not, I wouldn't be mad at a reach for Bijan. And I know the Patriots and running backs don't really gel, but I think Bijan brings the added dimension. You know, normally with the Patriots, they have a regular, first and second down back, and then they bring in a third down back that's normally a pass catcher. Potentially, Bijan could be all of that in one. But he's a 3-down back, and he's dynamic. So I think if you're really trying to help Mac Jones and you're trying to, get the stink of last year off, I think they should go offense. I would try to build and try to put some help around Mac Jones. Corey would take Mike Myers. Where is he on this board? Let's see. I mean the tight end. He got the size, right? You see that, right? He looked really good at times, but then sometimes he would disappear. I don't know if that's more on the quarterback, the ever-evolving quarterback situation at Notre Dame or not, but worth the drive. I'll be doing it again in November. Oh, okay, so you're really outside. Okay, you're really outside. You're about to move to Knoxville. If you get into Knoxville, holla at my guy on ESPN Radio out there, Greg Larner, the word with G, on ESPN Radio in Chattanooga. I think the signal should be strong enough that you could pick it up in Knoxville. But I'm on there every Wednesday. Every Wednesday for an hour, I'm on ESPN Radio out there in Tennessee. So we talk a lot of Vols, obviously talk Titans, and also for some reason we talk Braves and Hawks and Atlanta Falcons. So it's a little bit of a smorgasbord there, but yeah. Holla at my guy Greg Larnard. I love Bijan. Yeah, yo, Bijan is. I know this is not the 1990s or even the 80s, but I don't. It's hard for me to believe that a talent as good as Bijan, even though this era has devalued running backs, even though low key they really haven't, because when you still look at guys like Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, like if you're a top tier back, you can still be a factor in a big time offense. And if you're Derrick Henry, you could be the entire offense and still carry a team to the playoffs. Like, I find it hard to believe that a talent as such as Bijan is not really going higher. Like, I know the whole league is devaluing running backs, but sometimes some are just not, they're not average. Like, he's not just your average first round running back. To me. Corey, yeah, and he's athletic. So Corey is big on Meyer here. He's big on Meyer. Stay away from Nolan Smith. Well, he's an edge guy. So, you know my feelings on that. Here's something for the chat. Miles Murphy. Do y'all really see him being effective on the edge? I think you can move him around a little bit. You definitely can't put him over the nose or anything like that, but I think he's the strength that he has. I think he can make some impact in the middle as well. He's definitely not an interior lineman, but this narrative that he's such an edge rusher, I think that's limiting the impact he can have on a defense. Whereas Nolan Smith, I think he is only an edge rusher. You can't move him around, in my opinion. Would hate, okay, let's get back to B. Kels. Would hate if the Pats wasted on defense, and I honestly can't stand Mac Jones. I don't think he's the future. So you're a Zeppy guy? If you're a Zeppy guy, then we need to have a conversation, because what have you seen from Zeppy that makes you think, I mean, or are you saying you just know Mac Jones ain't it? You're not sure if Zeppy's it either, but you already know Mac Jones ain't it. Yeah, for sure. Call in, man. Call in. Be sure for sure. Like me and Greg, we chop it up. Y'all know me. I like to come in there and stir the pot every week on that station. So I try to make sure I come up with a hot take or a very strong contrarian opinion. I've been killing the Grizzlies all year. I've been destroying the Atlanta Hawks. Apparently, there's a lot of Hawks fans in Tennessee, or at least within the sound to reach that station. So I've been trying to trade Trae Young for like the last 2-3 years. So, yeah, definitely call in. And I'll probably have Greg on here at some point just to kind of chime in. He's a big Packer guy, so he's a little distraught about this whole Aaron Rodgers stuff. Corey, an edge guy with no real pass rushing moves. Nolan Smith? Yeah. I don't even, to be quite honest, I wouldn't have him on the edge. I think a lot of these guys are really linebackers disguised as edge rushers. Like Will Anderson, I don't think Will Anderson's an edge guy. A true edge? I would have put him there. Keep him at linebacker. Like, what's wrong with him being linebacker? I don't get it. I understand to improve your draft stock, it's sexier to be an edge guy instead of a linebacker to get drafted, especially get drafted this high. Like, you're not taking a linebacker at 3. I mean, earlier, within, I think halfway through the season in college football, Will Anderson was going to be the first pick. So you're not going to do that primarily as a linebacker. Like, not even Ray Lewis went number 1. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of the greatest linebackers of all time, very few of them, if any of them, have gone number 1 overall. So, but edge rusher, you can sell that. But truthfully, I just don't feel he's that. Nolan Smith is another guy. I think he's a linebacker disguised as an edge rusher. But, it is what it is. So, let's see. Come off the screen here for a bit. Let me just go on the website and make sure there's no new T. that has come down. For those who don't know about we mentioned it earlier, I think it was Corey mentioned the Jeffrey Simmons deal. It's a 4-year contract extension, 16 sacks to past 2 seasons. I don't know if they released any numbers. The money of Simmons' contract will have a big impact on the type of contract Jets' Quinnen Williams will get. The Titans were smart to get their deal done first. Let me make sure you guys see that part. Yep. Titans were smart to get that deal done first. Because I'd rather give Zeppy a shot, to be honest. I think he gives a much better chance of winning than Jones does. Not saying Zeppy is the answer, but with what they got, I'd play him and shop Jones. But that certainly was the rumor early in the week, right? Early in the week, there was a lot of talk of, Mac Jones being shopped, or at least, the Patriots making the call around the league to see if they could get something going there. But ultimately, I don't think anyone worth a damn is going to trade for Mac Jones, because what would you be willing to give up? Like, I asked this early in the week, and no one really seemed to have a good feel on it. I wouldn't give up a fourth rounder for him. I wouldn't do that. So, and I don't know if you're the Patriots, if it's even worth trading him if you can only get back like a fifth rounder for him. Like, what's the point at that point? You might as well just cut him if you really don't want him. I know the Patriot way. I know. Trade them before they become of value, and they overextend their welcome. I know. But yeah, we got that. Let's see. What else do we have? Hendon Hooker. Not touching the Joe Mixon stuff. And yes, for those who have maybe tapped in late, yesterday we went crazy over the whole thing of Blue Check Boy Chris Mortensen of the 4-Letter Network saying that that the Panthers were going to take Bryce Young. And I mentioned at the top, but in case you missed it, Chris Mortensen later said it was just a mock for the show, not an actual report. That's not how he was giving it up on that show. But now he's spinning the block. I don't know if someone put a bug in his ear, or he may have got a text or a call after that show and said, hey, relax with the Bryce Young stuff. So who knows? Let's see. Yeah, that's about it for that. And this is the report that we were talking about yesterday when it comes to Mac Jones. Mac Jones' name indeed came up in, quote, trade discussions with a couple of teams. But according to Albert Breer, the issue now is that they wouldn't get great value for him. Because, of course, it's Mac Jones. Like, why would anyone give up anything substantial for Mac Jones? Okay, so I hope y'all enjoyed that. I gave y'all a little bit of a mock draft, a simulated mock draft, and we went down a different mock draft of Pro Football Focus, who at the top more or less had the same stuff we've been looking at, but the only difference is that Will Levis slides to the 20s and the Rams trade up to the Ravens spot at 22 to take Will Levis. And Jalen Carter goes number 5 to Seattle, despite all the reports of multiple teams not only just taking him out their first round draft board, but removing him entirely from their board. Somehow Jalen Carter still ends up going to Seattle at 5. So just wanted to give y'all a different viewpoint, different perspective, because we've been looking at this same draft board with very little updates over the past couple of weeks. As you see, it was updated 3 days ago. So, now we have a different perspective. Will Levis fall? This whole thing to the Raiders at 7 has been there for a minute, but will he fall all the way down into the 20s? And if the Ravens hang on to this pick with everything going on with Lamar Jackson, and I'm not trying to make this a Lamar Jackson stream on a Friday especially, but again, at 22, the Ravens themselves said that a QB could be in play. So at 22, with Hendon Hooker rising up, is Hendon Hooker on the Ravens draft board as the third best QB prospect? And if that's the case, at 22, we talked about the Packers potentially future-proofing for Jordan Love with Hendon Hooker at 42. And this proposed, alleged Aaron Rodgers to the Jets trade. Could the Ravens beat them to the punch and get Hendon Hooker as a future proof for Lamar Jackson at 22? Remains to be seen. So we move off of that. And let's get this next thing set up. There is a lot to go over in the National Basketball Association. The first piece, though, is that a team is openly tanking right here at the end. And it is the Dallas Mavericks, courtesy of Shams Charania. So there is a game tonight that matters for the Mavericks because they're trying to move up and get some seeding, right? There was also a game with Kevin Durant and LeBron James. So Phoenix, LA, where LA needs to win this game. Phoenix has nothing. They can't improve anything with this game. So they are going to tank this game. They're going to rest Durant. They're going to rest Devin Booker. They're going to rest the point fraud. They're going to rest DeAndre Ayton. So they have the 4 seed clinched, and they're making a priority on their postseason health. They're going to sit their starters. So what this does do is put a lot of information on display for the Western Conference in terms of the Mavericks. The Mavericks, to get the 10 spot, they would need to win both of their games, and have the Thunder lose. This is what would be needed for the Dallas Mavericks to make it to the play-in as the 10 seed. So, y'all know what the Mavericks decided to do today. They decided to make sure ain't nobody going to play for the Mavericks tonight. They are clearly resting all of their pieces. All. Okay? All of their pieces. Let me make sure I have the right tweet up. Thought I had this on the list, but let me pull this up here. They are resting literally everybody tonight. Kyrie, Luka, all of them. Christian Wood, all of them. They're all sitting. And they are prioritizing a draft pick over a potential play-in spot. Now, no one believes that they would even do anything if they advanced, but the fact of the matter is that they're not even going to try to make the playoffs. Let's see. And this is a game that they technically could win. Oh, finally. Good Lord. It took me way too long to find this tweet. All right. So with a potential playoff spot on the line, here's who the Dallas Mavericks are trotting out there. Or not trotting out there. Kyrie Irving, right foot. Josh Green, rest. Tim Hardaway Jr., left ankle. Maxi Kleber, right hamstring. And Christian Wood, rest. Now, earlier they said there would be no Luka. They have since amended that. Now Luka is probable. So it's going to be Luka and JaVale McGee on the floor tonight. But in terms of everything else, everyone else is sitting down. Everyone else is sitting down. And they are prioritizing a draft pick. And do we even care? By and large, no. But the indication is that a lot of the stuff they've talked about with load managing, playoff seeding, things of this nature, they've tried to do everything in their power, and they being the NBA, as to try to stop teams from tanking, stop teams from load managing. And here we are, within the last 3 games of the season, the Dallas Mavericks are openly tanking this game for a draft pick. And this just goes to show there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to stop a team from tanking. There's absolutely, positively nothing you can do. You can find them. You can do whatever you want. The bottom line is the Mavericks as an organization have chosen. They value potential ping pong balls over being in the play-in. Let me see. Get the NBA tankathon. How does this improve their chances? Okay, let's see. Oh wait, this pick. Oh wait, this is a top 10 protected pick, right? This is that vaunted Knicks pick. This pick goes to the Knicks if it's top 10. If I'm to be accurate here. So they'll take a chance that this pick could potentially be top 10 so they could keep the pick, but if it's, around the bottom of the lottery, this pick goes to the Knicks. So they'd rather roll that dice of having a potential top 10 pick, and with the ping pong balls, maybe they found a way to get into the top 3. Highly unlikely, but maybe they find a way. Oh, this pick is protected. Okay. They should have that detail here. Why isn't that pick protected? Okay. Anyway, so the Mavericks are out here tanking. Kyrie is, fresh, still within Ramadan, and he's hooping crazy. And it doesn't really matter. They're taking L's left and right. They're not looking cohesive. The defense has come under question. Jason Kidd's coaching has come under question because people assume Jason Kidd is a player's coach just because he was a player. That is not the case. That is not the case whatsoever. He is a old school type coach. So that's a thing there, right? Let's see. Have that. And now we get into the playoff seeding. Playoff seeding is going to be interesting because where's that? Here we go. There's a lot of playoff scenarios. Most of the seeds are locked up in the East, the top 5 anyway. It's all about 6 through 9 in terms of potential play-in scenarios and whatnot. And then you see in the East, in the West, the second and third, there could still be some flip-flop. And then all of this nonsense from 5 on down. Like, there's still a chance the Timberwolves could be 5. There's still a chance the Pelicans could be 5. And there's been a lot of talk of Zion. Zion's been trying to creep his way back in, but Zion, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to come back. Whether the team is holding him out or whether it's him, there's conflicting reports there. I know people who say Zion wants to play, and Zion is pushing them to let him play. And the team is the one, and then there's the other side of the team holding him back. And yeah, it just really just depends on who you believe. So these are the remaining scenarios. Because right now you really can't, there's too many scenarios for 5 through 9. There's too many, right? Just the 10 seed is the only one that you can actually try to figure out, right? This 10 seed you can figure out. But the problem is that Dallas is taking themselves out the 10 seed mix. So really it's OKC at the 10th spot. So you're looking at OKC as the 10th spot in the play-in, and now you got to figure all this other nonsense out. With Minnesota, New Orleans, the Lakers, the Warriors, and the Clippers all in a logjam between 5 and 9. That's going to be messy. That's going to be nasty. But that is a thing that's going to be happening there. So let's see. What else do we have here? We'll come off the screen for a sec. Thank you to the new subscribers. I appreciate y'all. Had a couple people subscribe. Appreciate that. Let's keep that momentum going. Let's keep that energy going. Appreciate that. Build the momentum here. Love it, love it, love it. So, Houston Rockets and Steven Silas. The Houston Rockets are not expected to bring back Steven Silas after the season. Nick Nurse and Scott Brooks have been mentioned as potential candidates to replace Silas. I feel bad for Steven Silas if you know his dad, Paul Silas, and how old school and how grizzled, and he recently passed away, so RIP to the late, great Paul Silas. But Steven Silas has been through a lot. That team, that Houston Rocket team is not ready to win. They have a lot of young players. We were looking up defensive ratings earlier in the week, and the core of that team all have the worst defensive ratings, the highest, which is still the worst, the highest defensive ratings throughout. In the history of the league, that team has the highest defensive ratings, and having a high defensive rating is not good. So I feel for Steven Silas. That job was meant to fail. Like you were just going to be there to be a stopgap. If you believe some of the rumors, the beard James Harden could be returning to Houston. Take that for what it is, but yeah. Feel bad for Steven Silas. And then we have the Thanasis Antetokounmpo stuff. And when asked if Thanasis Antetokounmpo would be on the NBA roster without Giannis Antetokounmpo's assistance, 3 NBA officials responded as follows. An NBA player personnel director, no. He responded immediately. An NBA scout, let me think about this for a few seconds. He then paused for about 10 seconds before answering, no. An NBA general manager, hey, we know what that's all about. It's all about appeasing Giannis, but to answer your question, no. So this, for some reason, got people up in arms. I don't see why it did. It's nepotism. And there's nothing, we've had nepotism in every walk of life. And why is it a thing to publicize this on a platform such as this? Why is this a problem? We've had nepotism with presidents. We've had nepotism with CEOs. We've had nepotism in NBA ownership. Why is this a story? We've had nepotism in coaching. So why wouldn't there be nepotism in players? I don't know. It's very, very weird. Very, very weird. Well, let's see. Do we have much else? It is a Friday. It's been a quiet Friday. Do one last check. You're not getting into the Isaiah Thomas stuff. We're good on that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's not much else here. We'll just go ahead and start the weekend early. I appreciate those who were able to pull up. I appreciate whoever was here that dropped a like. I appreciate those who watch on the replay and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. So if you want to catch the replay, it'll be on the live tab of this channel, not on the video section. It'll be on the live tab. If you want to get updated on future streams, make sure to hit that notification bell when you subscribe. You do that, you'll get notified every time we go live. We usually go live at 4 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Sometimes we push the time back like today because I want to do the little mock draft simulator. Hopefully y'all enjoy that. But I appreciate those who were able to pull up this week. The channel is growing, stream by stream, clip by clip, short by short. I appreciate all the support. So for Timeline T, another successful week, successful week of 5 live streams, all here on this channel, powered by Ecamm Live. If you're interested in doing a free trial of Ecamm Live, the link is in the description. Be sure to do that. It is an affiliate link. Your boy does get a kickback, but I use this service. I built this toolbar. I built the ticker. All the stuff you see here using Ecamm Live. So you can do a similar stream like this or remix it to make it something that you feel is better. A lot of creative opportunities. It is Mac only. So, this is like OBS, but for Mac. That's the only way I can kind of describe it for people that know about technology. So for me, the Sam D, aka Sam Duesmay Jr., this has been Timeline T. Have a good weekend. I'll catch y'all on Monday. Peace.